Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a video on my thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp, the trailer for that film. I think the best way of describing it or comparing it to another superhero-y type film is that ideally I get the vibe that it will be like Deadpool 2. In the sense that it's not sort of interconnected to the MCU heavily, even though Ant-Man is part of the MCU. It's more sort of, you know, you could watch this maybe even if you haven't seen the first film, ideally, and I only say that because personally, spoiler alert, or like warning, I haven't watched the first film as of this recording, so yeah. But I get the sense that it's sort of like Deadpool 2 in the sense that it's kind of going to be more grandiose, bigger than the original one, and there's a few callbacks to the original film sort of thing. I don't know, I just really like the, I'm quite fascinated by the tech they use and the sort of cool sort of ability that they have to obviously shrink down and then be huge, and also how they can manipulate other things to do that. So like have like a small car in the trailer, there's a small car that they're in, but then they've also got like a building in that small car, so they've got like a small building or a building that's huge, shrunk that down, got into a car, shrunk, or got a car, shrunk that down, and then put both in that. It's fascinating to me, and that, you know, I think it's going to be like sort of an action comedy type film, or at least I get that sort of vibe, like that there's going to be quite a few one-liners and comedic stuff and that, but it's going to be primarily action focused as well as comedy. So again, Deadpool would be a great example, although it probably won't be as funny or as intense with the trying to interject humour sort of thing, although humour won't be as obviously sort of risque to say the least, or raunchy, or pop culture references here and there and that, but also the bad guy, the villain type character, looks quite interesting. Like she can like vanish through walls and that, and it feels more self-contained than that of say the other MCU you know, sort of films, as I said before, and that will be a really big refresher, I guess. What's weird though is that in terms of production and in terms of release, this obviously releases after Infinity War, but in chronological order in the timeline of these films, it's actually set before, either before Infinity War or even before Civil War, so, and that, so, because I think Ant-Man 1 released before Civil War, so it would go like Ant-Man, Ant-Man 2, and then Civil War, so it'd be a nightmare to try and marathon all these films, all these MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe films back to back in chronological order, because it, you know, there's so many of them now, and that. But yeah, I mean, obviously there's the Wasp as well. She's a new character, I think. I'm not 100% sure. She might be the same person who was sort of in female side character-y person who seemed to be in the first film. I'm not 100% sure. I can't really comment too much on that because obviously I haven't seen the first film. Or it might be a different actress, it might be a different character, I don't know. But again, the Wasp is in this, so she's sort of that female sort of, you know, sort of sidekick, and or maybe there'll be some sort of, maybe, you know, sort of differing sort of opinion as to who the lead, you know, sort of hero is in their dynamic, maybe, which wouldn't surprise me. There's an awesome bit right at the end, as I say, like where he turns huge in that. I mean, it happens in the comic books. Ant-Man does turn huge in that, and or the animated TV show, Marvel's Avengers Assemble, and I used to watch that on the Disney Channel, and, you know, as I say, in some of the comic books, I'm aware that, you know, he can turn huge, but in, obviously, so far in the films, it seems to mainly just be that he can shrink down. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Civil War, but he does turn huge in Civil War and that, but then I think, as he was saying, as that had happened, he'd said something akin to, this, I can't sustain doing this for a long period of time, or a long amount of time, and that, and you know, it kind of ruins my body, like, or something, or there's some sort of like line or bit of dialogue that says something akin to that, so maybe that's why it doesn't happen very often, as well as the fact that I can't imagine it's cheap to CG that sort of stuff, although maybe it's easier than doing the small itty bitty version of him, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as I say, there's another bit where like a bad guy's trying to run away and Wasp shoots like something out of a gun and or wrist sort of gun thing in a suit, which then makes like this jar just turn huge, and then this guy's like running and then just goes and just hits into it and that. So it'll be interesting how they attack and or fight scenes and stuff, like, you know, as soon as they can, you know, alter the landscape and or objects around them. So yeah, I am looking forward to this film, and I do want to see it. It looks good, it looks interesting and fun, and as I say, it just looks like a juxtaposition with the sort of normal traditional MCU, sort of very more sort of intense, sort of like in terms of like, I mean, after Infinity War, like, I've seen Infinity War and, you know, that wasn't quite as not intense as some of the other stuff, and this just seems like this is going back to, you know, pre-Avengers even, you know, like sort of first Avengers sort of thing, you know, just very sort of self-contained, standalone, which for me is going to be great, and that's what I'm really sort of liking about this, as it gives me that sort of feel and that. But you know, either way, you couldn't say that, you could say that it's a negative maybe, I don't know, but do you really? I don't know if it's going to be connected in any way massively to any other film or what, but you know, because obviously it's a cinematic universe, these films are all tied together in some respect, so you know, you gotta have some sort of random cameo from another superhero, even if it doesn't make any sense in the narrative really, or feels very, you know, sort of juxtaposition of sorts. But hopefully it should be good, and hopefully I will be able to go see it at some point. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe.